Hello and welcome to the Game of Miles podcast, where Daddy and Papa take a game of inches and turn it into 1,000 miles. Posh, how we doing today?
Spelly doing well. Excited for week 9. It has been quite the journey thus far. A lot of trades happening, and the league is in full force right now.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think last week during week 8, we were officially halfway through the season, so we are on the back 9, so to speak. But a lot's happened. We got the trade deadline coming up. We got a show packed full of all kinds of great things. So I'm ready to get into it. And with that, let's get right into our first segment. The first segment is always Check Yourself. That is sponsored by the #1 hardware store in all of the world, not just America anymore, all of the world, BJ's Hardware. And we got a great announcement from BJ's Hardware this week.
BJ's Hardware, we are hiring $15 an hour, but you have to have a master's degree in hardware management. We're only looking for the best of the best to work for our stores. It's run by the best of the best. We have master's degrees in hardware management, so you need one as well. But $15 an hour, come out. We will be hiring probably this whole month. We're a little low staffed right now, getting back in the swing of things. So come on out if you think you're right for the job and be a BJ's Hardware associate.
Demand is at an all-time high. Everybody is aware of what's going on in America and the economics of it all. So we are doubling minimum wage. That is just something that we do for our employees, not to brag, but yeah, come and interview and see if you're a good fit. And as we go into that, with Check Yourself, we are going to be looking at the commissioner's predictions for week 8. And as we went through these, he actually did decent this week. He's had better weeks. He's had worse weeks. With the 3-3 record, the ones that he did not get correct were Jim beat Spencer. The commission picked himself, which, I think over the course of the weeks, that's been a pretty good move, but the commission fell to Adam this week. And then Jake and Care of Business beat Rich in a nail biter, thanks to, was it Graham Gano with a couple points?
Graham Gano, worst Monday night of my life. I need, when you're up down by 0.22 after Sunday Night Football and you have a kicker to go, I don't care what anyone says. Every bad scenario was going through my mind, but it was a double whammy. I won and the Chiefs won, so you can't ask for a better outcome.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people can say that for the year, just based off the Chiefs record. So that's always a great feeling. But yeah, I always get nervous when I need a couple points going into the final night. Thursday night football and Monday Night Football are just kind of crapshoots to me.
Especially with a kicker who can lose you points like at the snap of a finger. So I was thankful. But Grant, that was the first time Grant's picked against the business this year, and I was glad I can prove him wrong.
And with that goes to a 29-19 overall record, so above 500, pretty handily for Grant. I think that he's doing great so far this year, and I can't wait to see the predictions video tomorrow. And we'll get into. We do have a question for the commissioner that maybe he can address the league in his video tomorrow, but we'll wait to get into that. But first, let's get to our next segment, which is the slap bet showdown. Kamara and Taylor officially not on their original teams for the year. There are two good keeper candidates, so I didn't necessarily see that happening. But Post, you want to walk through their points for the year?
Sure. Both owners dealt the players. They got rid of them. Kamara 123.6 after this week. Taylor 141.9 after this week. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not believe Kamara has had his bye. Or has Kamara had his bye? Taylor has not had his bye.
Right.
So
Looking at the numbers, what's that a difference of 18? That's easily a week's worth of points for Kamara, but they're neck and neck. I mean, factor in the bye, they're neck and neck. I mean, it's not like
they're
like
even. I'm going to consider it even. They're factor in the bye. So I think again, two powerhouses, and I say it every week. It's going down to It's going down to the last week, barring an injury.
And I'm looking now, Jonathan Taylor, his week is not until week 4. His bye week is not until week 14. So we'll have a handful more weeks of this. But
Yep.
yeah, they're both producing. We'll get into the Kamara situation here in a minute, but both are good keeper candidates for each team going forward.
Any faces up for slapping right now? No man has an edge over the other.
Up next, we are going to go into the power rankings for the week, and it should be no surprise, as Kyle has mentioned and GroupMe several times, it's pretty much his own segment by now. Kyle, we hear you. We got a plan to get you on the pod, so just be patient with this. But Kyle, of course, is our Jersey Mike sub above the rest, number one player in power rankings. And he kind of is running away with it as he only has one loss. I don't think anybody else just has one loss. So it's going to take a couple weeks for Kyle to probably not have that number one spot.
Yeah, he called out our podcast saying, I can't believe I've been asked to be on. Kyle, we are always thinking, we always have a plan. We will get you on when the time is right. I promise you. But 9 weeks in a row, I mean, he's, going next week we'll be double. Even if someone, even if for some reason Kyle did lose, I win, we have the same record, he's still gonna be the number one, probably because of points 4. So he's gonna be up there for a while, if not the entire season.
You're sitting at 974 for points 4, and he's at 1,043. So pretty commanding lead there. I just looked. Your points against is 766, which is about 80 less than Kyle. So you're sitting in a good spot as well. But it's going to take a few weeks. But with that, Kyle's in 1, Jake is 2, Landon is still holding on to 3. Rich is 4, Grant is 5, and Adam is 6. So that's our first 6 there.
And then we got Maury, Spelly, Harmon at 9, Spencer at 10, Scott at 11, Willie at 12.
And Willie, shout out to Willie, getting his first win of the week. Still 12th in power rankings, but got the first win in at 1-7. So congrats to Mr. Luke Williams.
Got his first one under his belt. He still thinks he's going to be Squid. We deemed it on this podcast a week ago that he was not going to be Squid. And Willie, we are sticking to that, minus your trade, but we're still sticking with it. So week by week, get another win this week, and we'll get going.
That's right. And our last segment that we want to get into, where we'll spend most of our time, is going to be the trade time segment. And the trade deadline is coming up. No players can be traded after week 10. And so we're going to dive into all the trades that happened this week, give some analysis on it, give some opinions. And honestly, I hope that there's a handful more trades before it's all said and done, because trading is one of the best things about fantasy football. And we've had a great week so far. So keep going, guys. Keep texting, get those deals done. But before we get into the actual trades, the question that we wanted to ask Grant, and maybe Grant, you can inform us on the predictions video tomorrow, but when is the actual deadline for trading a player? It says here in Sleeper that they cannot be dealt after week 10. Does the player need to be traded before week 10, before they play that game? Is it just any player needs to be traded by the end of the game on Monday Night Football week 10? So we have some questions on it. If you could provide some clarity, I think that we will probably have a few deals that come right down to the wire.
Yeah, I think we need an official statement from the commish on the rules clarification for that.
Yep. If you guys are looking for where it is talking about trades in the Sleeper app, if you go to the league tab and go down to the bottom, league settings is there, and there's a section for the trade deadline. So Grant, our fearless leader, will get us some information, but let's discuss some of the trades that happened within the past 24 to 48 hours. And I will go ahead and just start with myself. And this is something that's been going in the works for probably 3 weeks now, maybe a month. I've had my eyes on Christian McCaffrey, the Great White Buffalo. It's a guy that could easily be the number one player in fantasy, but he's played 6 games in the past 2 years, just can't stay on the field. So I haven't pulled the trigger yet. Jim's been hesitant as well, but I knew that I couldn't keep Kamara, and I was going to have to deal him after I traded Aaron Jones early in the year. So, Post, what do you think about that trade? Do you think there's a clear winner?
Not so much a clear winner, but I was, when the trade went through, I was like, oh, Spelly just traded for CMC who's hurt. He's looking towards next year as well. Then today happened. CMC is back as of today off the IR, probably going to play this week. Michael Thomas said, I'm out. I'm not playing the rest of the year. So I think it was a good trade for you overall. I think it was good for Jim. You both got a potential keeper swap. Kamara is a powerhouse. CMC, if you can say healthy, is the best of the best. He's number one. So I think it was a good trade. And you got the handcuff of CMC barring, his injuries. So I think it was a good trade overall.
Yeah, some of my concerns, obviously Christian McCaffrey being injured. I didn't think that Jim was going to do it this week. We play each other this week. And I think he was banking on CMC not coming off the IR. It's still questionable whether he's actually going to play or not. Kamara is a top 5 running back, don't get me wrong, but with Jameis going down, Taysom Hill is coming back, who I picked up, by the way, and I do believe is the best running back on the Saints. I saw Kamara's stock going down, and then Michael Thomas is out for the year now, so I could see Kamara's passes going down, his catching ability, and then on the goal line, I could see Taysom Hill stealing a lot of touchdowns. So I hope it works out for Jim in the long run, but
sure,
we'll see.
And your guys' division is a dogfight. So I don't think any team benefited more from this trade. I do think it helps out both your teams. Also, Chuba Hubbard, Chris Berman did the fastest 3-minute rundown on Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, and he deemed him the nickname the Chuba Missile Crisis, which I think is the greatest name ever. So you have Chuba, that you might have to have a team name switch if he's on your team next year.
The peanut butter spellies is something that might be put in the holster for a couple weeks as long as Hubbard is playing. I might have to consider that.
And Hubbard produces too, might I add. He's a producer.
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, he's a solid RB2. I have Darrell Henderson, who's an RB1. So if I need him to fill in the meantime, I will say, I'm declaring it. This is a must win for me this week. If I lose this week, I am done for the season. I am just trying to not be squid because I will have losses to both my division opponents. I'm sitting at 3-5. I think Grant's going to win this week, so presumably they'd be 5-4. I don't know. I think it's going to be too big of a hill to climb, and I have so many injuries on my team, and everybody wants to get COVID for whatever reason. So
yeah, I have my first COVID. I guess person sitting out this week with Noah Fant decided to get COVID. Yep. Dummy. So he's not going to play. So I had to pick up I don't even know who I picked up, Dan Arnold or someone like that from Jacksonville. A lot of people sitting out with COVID right now.
Yep. All right. I will I'll get off my soapbox on myself, but that was one of the 2 major trades for this week. Jim, best of luck to you. I hope it works out for both of us, except for this week. I hope Kamara gets 1 point. But moving on to the other big trade is Willie and Rich. Willie has been trading this year. Rich is usually not too much of a trader, but with the Henry injury, I think it was obviously smart for him to not be able to keep Henry and to get rid of him. And I thought he got a pretty good return. So what did you think about their trade and all the guys involved with it?
This one shocked me. Like you said, Rich, not a big trader, traded. Also traded during business hours, which he is vocal about against doing. That's the second time he's done that this year. Willie, I think Willie just is preparing for next year. I think he has made up his mind he's going to be squid. Aaron Jones, who is a top running back, arguably the best running back or player on Willie's team, I would say. Henry, who's out for the season. Harris, I'll be honest with you, I don't know much about Harris. So I think Willie's just settling for next year, and if he's not squid, That's the bonus for him, I think, in his mind. And if he's squid, he already said he's training. But Willie, it was deemed, as I said earlier, you will not be squid on this podcast. So
That's right. We're still sticking to it.
and it will be if he gets Henry and it's not squid, that's a double win for him.
Harris must be, let's see.
Actually, he for New England, right? I played against Rich this last week. And I think I don't even know what he's averaging, but I think he put up maybe, I don't know. I think he had a touchdown against me, but I don't remember what I don't know what he's averaging this year, I guess.
Yeah, my computer's being weird because it's still saying that Willie has Tony Pollard on his team, but Harris. So a little look behind the curtain on some of the activity for Kamara this week. I almost had a trade solidify with Rich to get Derrick Henry, Kamara. Harris was involved in that, and I think he was probably. He's a solid RB2. I think he was in the teens somewhere. So definitely a good running back. I think it'd be a good placeholder until Willie can get to next year and have Derrick Henry. It doesn't sound like his injury is going to be anything he can't come back from. And if they were smart, they would just shut him down for the rest of the year. But I know there's talks about him potentially returning this year if they're going to make a playoff run. So more to come on that. But
could he return?
I thought
could he return for the Squid
the
playoffs
Squid Bowl.
For the Squid Bowl for Willie and keep
that would be
it?
crazy. That would be crazy if that actually happened. Willie, I hope that happens for you.
Yeah.
Because the way I'm going, I might be playing you this year in the Squid Bowl. But yeah, I thought it was good. I thought both sides got they got something that was of value, whether it's for this year or next year. Thought it was very fair. And one thing I do want to do as we are talking about keepers is just do a quick rundown of everybody's keeper on their roster. I had to pick and choose from a couple teams because there isn't a clear keeper on there. But this might get some of the trade talks stirring a little bit as we call out who's everybody's keeper. Some are very solidified. I think they are good with where they're at, but I think some teams have some work to do. So going just based off of power rankings, Kyle, number 1, he has Eckler. Number 2, I believe, running back this year, behind Henry. Probably going to be number 1 now with Henry out. So I think he'll keep Eckler. Jake, who's your keeper?
Najee Harris, who I love. Yep. Picked him up with the 7th pick in the draft. Averages 98% snap count this season. He takes every handoff, he lines up, he does it all, and I love him. He's a rookie, he's fresh, he catches the ball. He catches the ball, and he plays every play. He does not come out, and which scares me at times. I will say every time he goes diving into running downhill, I'm like, make sure you get someone help him up. I don't want to see him laying there, but I love him, so he's my keeper 100% right now.
I think that's a great keeper. You want a young guy like that, and snap count is everything, especially with a lot of these keepers. I had Kamara, and I saw Mark Ingram take a lot of snaps away from him. So very frustrating when that happens. So great keeper. Up next, Adam. He has Dalvin Cook. I just hope that Cook can stay healthy for him, but a great keeper when he's on the field.
Yeah, I was making fun of Cook at the beginning of the year because he's always hurt. And Adam, people in this league like to trade for hurt people, and Adam traded for Cook, but he's back now if he can stay healthy. But he produces when he's playing though.
Just got to get the handcuff with Madison with Cook, so no worries there. This is our first one that is maybe up in the air. Landon kept Travis Kelce last year, still on his roster. Right now, looking at his roster, I think DK Metcalf is probably his best keeper. Landon, kind of calling you out here. I'm not sure if that's what you're thinking for next year, if you're going to make some moves, but I do believe if Landon wanted to, he has that golden ticket with Travis Kelce on his team if he wanted to trade it for another keeper, potentially a running back.
Yeah, Metcalf would be a good keeper as well. But like you said, he does have Kelce, who he could probably trade for probably anybody. And Kelce's been MIA past 2 games. Not producing for Lando. So, but Metcalf is a good one in my opinion. He's the number 1 in Seattle.
Yep. And going down the list, we already talked about it. Rich has Aaron Jones, solid keeper for him, and Harmon has Kamara, who obviously he just got. So I
Mhm.
think since those guys just made trades for those guys, they're probably keeping them. Not saying that they want
Mhm.
to move them again, but that brings us to another keeper dilemma is Grant, who has either Montgomery or Hopkins. I think either one would be a good keeper. I think Montgomery is probably who he's going to lean towards, and I think would be a great keeper. He's been a top 10 running back when he's healthy, but I don't really know the extent of what his injury is and when he's projected to come back.
That one, I'm glad I'm not Grant because that one would stress me out because Hopkins is a freak and Montgomery is obviously a top 10 running back. So that's a flip of a coin. I'm with you. I think Grant will keep Montgomery. We like running backs in this league. So I think Grant will keep him. But either one of those, I think Grant would be fine with.
And then up next, another dilemma, but a good dilemma in my mind. Maury has both Nick Chubb and Jonathan Taylor. I think Taylor is going to be who he ends up keeping, which
Mhm.
is who I would keep as well. But he does have Nick Chubb, who he could trade and get another key piece to a team that needs a keeper. But Chubb is somebody that's also battled injuries this year, so I don't know if you would want to keep
The
him going
number
into
one
next year.
pick, the number one pick in our draft this year.
Yep.
Who would have thought on the fence about being kept?
And Chubb is a kind of an outlier. He's a top running back. He does great, but Kareem Hunt, we were talking about snap count percentages and all that. He comes off the field in passing down situations a lot of times. So
Mhm.
I don't know if somebody would want it. I think he'd be a decent keeper, but we'll see
Mhm.
if Maury wants to just go with the two-headed monster, knowing he has one, or if he'll try to trade it. Going next, we have Scott with Saquon Barkley, who is another injury-prone running back. He, like Cook and Christian McCaffrey, has not played a lot in the past couple years. I think Scott would be willing to trade him if he could get something for him, but I don't know who's going to be going after Saquon, who still is not ready to come back off his injury.
Injury prone and COVID prone.
Does he have COVID this week?
He got listed today, which is a good thing because
Gotcha.
I think I play Scott this week. So if Saquon wants to become ill, that's fine with me.
Yeah, you do play Scott this week, and that looks like it's going to be a good matchup, potentially game of the week. Not going to put words in the commissioner's mouth, but you guys are both projected over 120,
Ooh,
so that might be a good matchup there.
perfect.
Up next, we have our last kind of dilemma here. We have Spencer with Antonio Gibson and Leonard Fournette. Spencer, I know he has a lot going on, welcoming a second child in the world next year. It's going to be a boy, if I remember correctly. So
Mm-hmm.
congratulations to Spencer. Trying to finish up his residency. I think he's trying to move back to Kansas City. I feel like Spencer has a lot going on. He's still put up a good fight, record 3-5, but maybe fantasy has just taken down one step of his priority
Mm-hmm.
list. But still being very competitive. He kept Elliott last year, who's still on his roster, who would be a very good keeper for somebody. But looking at his roster, I mean, Fournette and Gibson are kind of the only ones and maybe Scary Terry. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, Brandon Ayuk did not work out for him. He even said that was a reach. He was supposed to be the leader of Dick Doc's team. Gibson, Fournette, and a Scary Terry would be another good one. I think Gibson and Fournette, I'd have to look at the numbers, but I think that Gibson was a slow start, and he's going now. Fournette is the lead back, in Tampa. So I don't know. I mean, I know our league loves running backs, but I think if you have a solid wide receiver core, I think you're going to be okay in this league. So, but I think
Yep.
any of those will work for Dick Doc.
I could see him making a move, especially since he does have Gibson and Fournette this year. If he wanted to get rid of Elliott for somebody else, I think somebody would take that.
Oh yeah.
I'll throw it out here. I might just do the work for you guys. I would trade Zeke for Travis Kelce. So there you go, guys. Done.
Ooh.
And rounding out our keepers, we of course have Willie with Derrick Henry, who, as it stands right now, is the best keeper of the bunch, assuming that he gets back to healthy. So great great job by Willie solidifying his stock for next year. And he mentioned in GroupMe that he could have a top pick based off his maybe how many ping pong balls he gets, and Derrick Henry. That could be dangerous.
I told Willie the trick. He make the commish spin it for more time than the commish thinks, because Grant like he likes to be quick and let it spin for 10 seconds or something. Also, I think you skipped yourself, Spelly. You're keeper CMC, who you just traded for.
I did skip myself. Yep. I will say this. CMC is my current keeper right now. I put it on GroupMe yesterday. Hubbard and CMC are on the block. Come get him, boys. He's off IR, so I'm not tied to him. Someone make me an offer.
Yeah.
But
if you want to be a part of the Chuba missile crisis, hit Spelly up.
That's right. But I'm just excited that fantasy is going well, and the trade deadline is always an exciting time of year. And then the dust kind of settles, and everybody realizes, oh crap, this is the team I have going forward for either a playoff push or the squid playoffs. So just get your team right, and hopefully it'll work out for you. You never know.
Yes.
With that, any other closing remarks, Push, before we turn it over?
I might have just came up with a new segment that can be the closing remarks, as we can talk about our errors and omissions. I think I read from the wrong power ranking list, 6 through 12. And you guys are going to get a little combo from me to sell here. Week 9, right? That's the tab.
Yep, week 9.
I think I read from week 8, and I apologize. So this is what it is from week 9. Kyle, me, Adam, Landon, Rich, Harmon, Grant, Maury, Scott, Spelly, Spencer, Willie. I'm pretty sure I read from week 8, and I apologize. So that was my error. Spelly's error was skipping himself on the keeper.
That's right. What's that show that does errors and omissions? Is that PTI?
PTI. And so I did come up. I mean, that's what it made me think of. But I was like, after I read it, I was like, I think I literally just read the wrong list. So
that's a good one. Also, as we are hiring at BJ's Hardware, we are hiring here on the podcast. If anybody wants to shoot the podcast with us on Wednesday evenings, and we are looking for a producer, we need somebody that is tech savvy, that can run our graphics and all of our media as we talk. We're looking for somebody that can kind of do the back end work, and Jake and I can really be the talent, obviously, where we shine. So if anybody's interested, we usually shoot between 4:30 to 6 on Wednesdays, but could be flexible for the right candidate.
And if you know how to edit, which is not a necessity, but it'd be a bonus and would really bump you up in the hiring process, we have a couple ideas that we could run by you. So reach out to us, reach out to our PR team. Kyle, be looking forward from a message from the podcast boys. We will be reaching out to you soon to dip your toes as being a guest on this podcast. And you can stop calling us out and being mad at us.
And just add it to the list of people that are calling us out and are mad at us from week by week. But
I mean, you gotta.
That's just part of being a fantasy football influencer,
Mm-hmm. That's right. But other than that, I mean, Perfect. Week 10, good luck to everybody. Or week 9, good luck to everybody. Trade deadline next week. We'll get details from the commission on that, so everyone is not confused. And it'll be the playoffs before you know it.
Yep. All right. Good luck to all of our teams out there. And as always, thank you for listening. We will see you on the fantasy football field. And for Game of Miles, this is Blake and Jake signing off.
Have a good evening.